again. So welcome everyone to our 2 o'clock session using flashcards for self-assessment with Ed Byer, and I'm going to turn it over to Ed to kick us off.
All right, welcome all you CAN innovators. Today we're going to have some fun creating some flashcards with PowerPoint and using a free Microsoft OneDrive account, and you're going to love what you're going to be able to do with it. And again, you're going to be limited only by your imagination. So let's get started here. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to do it in 3 parts. The first part, we're going to use PowerPoint, and we'll create a self-resetting flashcard using text and or images. You can actually use sound as well, but that doesn't work online, and I can always talk about more about that later. Then we're going to set the presentation so that it's self-running and will loop continuously. After that, then we're going to upload it to the Microsoft Drive, the OneDrive. It's a free account, and it runs PowerPoint online, which is what enables us to do this automatic presentation. And then we're going to integrate it into Canvas. We'll create a simple page and then show you how to embed a flashcard into Canvas and then let you go at it. So to begin with then, let's go ahead and I'm going to open a blank presentation. And the first thing I want to do is I want to change the layout, and I'm going to make it a title only layout. Then I'm going to go ahead and, well, let's go ahead and insert a title, my first flashcard. I'm also going to put in some quick instructions. You'll see why. Click on the box to whoop. Reveal the answer. Escape to quit. All right, let's take that. Make it a little bit smaller here. All right, so now, first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw a box. A simple box. Size doesn't matter. It's entirely up to you, and you don't even have to use a box. You can use a star, you can use a circle, whatever it is you want to do. Then we're going to copy and paste it. Now, when I do the copy and pasting, I'm using the keyboard shortcuts of Control-C and Control-V to insert. So if it just all of a sudden appears, that's I'm not doing the menu version. So let's control it, copy it, and let's change the color. Nice gray. Okay. Then we're going to open the selection pane. If you go to select and go to the selection pane, and what this is going to allow us to do is to rename the boxes. You just see if you click on it, it says that the blue box is rounded corners 4. Well, that's going to be my question box. So I'm going to call this one question 1. And I'm going to make the gray one answer 1. And I think, actually, I think before we go any further, let me show you just a quick sample of what we're about to do, so you get an idea of where we're going with this. Here's a sample flashcard that we're about to build, and basically it's a Canvas web page, and you click on it, it shows you the response for 2 seconds, and then comes back with the question again. And the student does not have to have a OneDrive account, does not have to even have PowerPoint. If they can get into the Canvas classroom, they can use these flashcards without any bother of the other things. So that's where we're headed here. Okay, so I renamed the question and answer, and now I'm going to enter some text. So we'll say, was grants tune. All right, hopefully we can all figure that answer, right? So let's go over here and let's type it in. Now I want to also be sensitive to the contrast. I'm going to change the color of that text. All right, so now we just have 2 boxes, and now we're going to go over to the animations tab, and I'm going to open up the animation pane. And then let's apply some animations to this. Don't really need that. So the first thing I want to do, basically what we're going to do is these are going to be stacked on top of each other. And when I click on it, I just want the blue box to disappear for a couple seconds and then reappear. So we're going to add an exit fade to the box. And then I'm going to add a fade back. Now you need to use this fade back, because if I just go back here and click on fade, it only changes it. It doesn't add it. So we need to make sure to use the add and click on fade. So now I have two animations on there. And if I run it, you can click on it, it disappears. That's what we want it to do, right? Oh, okay. So what we're gonna, so now I want it so that when I click on the box, that's gonna trigger this whole animation sequence. So I'm going to set it so that the fade in happens after the fade out. And I'm gonna set the fade out to trigger. Notice this trigger menu up here. Trigger on click of, and this is why it's nice to rename the boxes, because you can see which one it is. So when they click on question 1, I want this to start. And notice it gives me a little trigger area here. And so I need to drag my fade back in down below it because I want it to happen afterwards. Now I also need to set the delay of the fade back. And I'll set it to 2 seconds. You can set it to whatever it is you want. And so now if we run it and we click on, and then 2 seconds later, it should come back. Right? And notice now if I click in the white area, it ends the slideshow, but we'll deal with that later. So now we're gonna take the answer and we're going to stack it on top and then send it to the back. And there we have our first question that they can click on, get the answer, and it comes back again. Now, I'm going to grab both of those boxes and copy them and then paste them. So now I have 3 boxes. Obviously, they're all the same question. But what I want to do is now I have 3 question 1s and 3 answer 1s. We're going to go and click on one of them. And notice when I click on the name over here, it shows me which one I'm choosing. So I'm going to make that question 3. And that's paired with answer 3. Question 2. Answer 2. All right, let's some questions here. We have what year was the War of 1812? Oh. Now, when you type in the question, just simply click on the box and send it to the back rather than trying to juggle the boxes around. Enter the answer, and then send the answer to the back. So now we have the 2 different questions. So let's put one more in there. And we'll send that question to the back and give it an answer. Send it back. And save my file. So now when I run it, I have my 3 questions. Who was buried in Grant's tomb? 2 seconds. In what year was the War of 1812? And what do participants think of Can Innovate? It's pretty awesome, actually. So, but let's take it a little one step further. Instead of, let me send this to the back. Instead of having just awesome there, let's get rid of that. And let's bring in some graphics. So now what I'm going to do is resize this guy so he fits behind. Home, range, send to back. And now when we run it, we get awesome, not just awesome. All right. Now that we have our questions in there, and here's a trick too. Once you get the first row, just select them all, copy, paste, and now you have your second row already, and you just come over and change the names of the boxes and things like that. Just makes it easier to expand on some of the designs that you might come up with. So now we have it, but if I run it and I click on the background, that ends the slideshow. So we want to go to slideshow setup, or set up the slideshow, and there's a box here that says loop continuously until escape. Selecting that, click OK. Now when I run it, I can click all over the place and it's not going to exit. And if I click on a box, it's going to reveal the answer for 2 seconds. Now, what you can do with this, you could actually download this and have a standalone version. So if you don't want to embed it in your web page, but you want students to have something that they can take with them or put on their local desktop, you can create this and they can download it and run it locally too. All right, so now I'm going to save it. And I'm saving it first as a PPTX. And that's just so that I have, it's easier for me to go in and open it up to make some changes or whatever the case. But the real trick now is to save it as a PowerPoint show, a .ppsx. And what that's going to do is that's going to create a presentation that as soon as you click it to open it, it starts running. We'll go ahead and save the ppsx. And now we're done with the PowerPoint portion of creating the flashcard. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of that. Now I'm going to go over to my OneDrive. And again, this is a free account. You can sign it up. You get 5 gigabytes, I believe it is, free. And if you want more, you can always sign up or subscribe. ABC. Now I'm using my personal account only because of some security issues on campus networks. Sometimes it doesn't always work properly, so it's just easier if I use my personal. All right, so now I've logged into my OneDrive account, and you can see I have some other flashcards here. And I'm going to upload you'll see here I have my PPSX and my PPTX, and I can right click and choose upload and go hunting for it, but I really love the drag and drop. So I'm just going to drag it in there, drop it, and there's my flashcard. Now what's nice about this is if I upload it and I click on it, it's going to open it in the online version of PowerPoint. So if I see a misspelling or something like that, I can go in there and I can quickly fix it. You can't, at least I haven't found a way to mess with the triggers here. I don't think you can in the online version. So, but it's just a quick way, and you can run it to test it out to see what happens. But here, if you click on the background, it ends the slideshow. So, and I like it too because it opens it in a new tab. So you just close out the tab and you're done with the editing. All right, so then let's go over to my Canvas page and let's create a simple page, my first flashcard. Hello world, this is my first attempt. OneDrive. Okay, so we've started our page. Now I'm going to go back to my OneDrive and I'm going to right click on the flashcard and choose the embed option. And when I do that, the first time you do this, you'll see a button over here that says generate. You click on generate and it generates the embed code to this file on the account. So I'll click in there, I'll copy the embed code and go back to my Canvas page. And here I'm going to use the insert media. Can I? Yeah, there we go. Insert media button to insert or to embed the video. So we'll click on that and we'll choose the embed tab. Go ahead and paste it in there. And I like Microsoft defaults to a 402 by 327. After just some experimentation, there's no other real reason. I'd like to change this to 1200 by 680. I like the size. Once we do that, thank you. We'll go ahead, save and publish it. And now we have the flashcard embedded in a page. And the reason I went to the 1200 by 680 is because this is actually a usable size. But if the student wants to get in closer down here in the right lower right corner, they can expand it to full screen and get a larger version. And again, that opens it in a different tab, so then they can play with it. Okay. That actually went smoother than I expected it to go. Are we getting any questions?
Yeah, so we have lots of questions coming up. The main one is about the accessibility.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you can address accessibility.
I don't know if this is accessible or not. However, I believe I have created a screen reader friendly version. If I open this up, here are the same questions, but if I use my Wave extension, you'll see that the question is actually a header 3 and the answer is a header 4. So using the screen readers, the user will be able to jump between the questions that they want, hear the question, and then not get the answer until they go to the next level of header.
So a follow-up to that then is, would you provide a link to the accessible version of it on the page where the PowerPoint embed is?
Yes. I think what I would do is in an introduction here, just come down and say, work with me here, Ed. Something along those lines, and then just make that a link to the friendly version page. And and actually, I would also probably dress this up a little bit more. But if there's anybody out there using a screen reader or comfortable with it, I'd appreciate it if you give it a shot. Let me know if it works, and if there's some comments or suggestions on it, I'm certainly open to it.
So then in that case, if there were any images in the screen reader only version, it would just be whatever text would be in the image in that case.
Yes. Yeah. Throwing the awesome, well, you would probably have to put in a full description of the image.
Okay. Yeah. You can do that as well. That's right. Yeah.
I don't know about using the image itself as the question. That could get a little tricky. Yeah, because I have some samples here. Oh, actually, I didn't. Let me add my flashcard here. So that should be it. Oh. Nope, that's not the one I wanted. Okay. I have some samples here of some of the ones that I've done and just playing around with. This is one I use in one of my computer classes. This is the basic that we just covered. This is about about the history of computers. Down here, there's another one. Here I have again, the same basics, but here you can also get creative by adding an extra layer. And technically you can go as deep as you want. I was just playing this morning. I was playing around, and I had on the text here, I said, name that tune. And then when they clicked on that button, it played a short song. And at the end of that song, then the third layer came on and said what the name of the song was. So that was kind of fun. That doesn't work online. That you would have to make a standalone to work. Now here's one with images, and this would be difficult to, well, not difficult, but it would be, you'd have to provide a description of the image without giving away what the image is. There's the challenge.
Right.
There, you're clicking on it. I'd have to give that one some more thought. Here's one, since I teach a computer application, an introduction to computers course. What happens when you turn your computer on? Well, using the triggers and the animation that we just learned, if a student clicks on the on button, then it steps through the first step of what happens when electricity is applied to the computer. And they can read about it and think about it, and then click the button again, and it takes them through the next step. And then they can click the button again, takes them through the third step into the post. Then hopefully they understand that the ones and zeros are being loaded into memory, click on it again, and when it finally gets to the startup screen, the off button appears. And if the student clicks on the off button, it just resets the whole thing so they can start all over again. And this one I'm having a lot of fun with. I have a colleague who teaches medical office terminology, and if you click on the star, it will let you know what that particular part of the cardiovascular system is. Again, disappear after 2 seconds. It's kind of neat because I'm actually learning about the heart too at the same time. And it's always fun too, because you go out and put in a little surprise. And not many people would think to do it, but if somebody happened to think about clicking on this particular star, well, then I'm going to pop up and say hi there. Okay. Any more questions?
So there's a few more here. So what about the student mobile app? Have you had any experience with students accessing this on the mobile app?
No.
Okay. So that's something that would need to be tested. So
yeah, actually.
And then you're creating it in Microsoft. Do you know about being able to create it in Google?
Well, since I don't use the Google version, the problem I had with the Google Drive, I tried storing this on the Google Drive. The Google Drive's not running PowerPoint. Right. So if Google has, what's the Google presentation? I don't use the Google apps much, but if you use the Google presentation software and it runs on the Google Drive, I would imagine we can probably get away with doing that as well.
Yeah. So if it's all in PowerPoint, do students necessarily need Microsoft PowerPoint?
No.
Okay.
No. They just need to be able to get into your Canvas course.
Okay. Awesome.
That's what, and they don't need a Microsoft OneDrive account either. That's
okay. So once you get it in there with the embed code, they can just access it.
That's correct.
Okay. Question came up about, is there a way to integrate Quizlet flashcards? I'm not sure if you have any experience with that.
With Quizlet, I'm not familiar with Quizlet.
Okay. Another question, can we make multiple pages to create 12 to 24 flashcards?
Can you create multiple pages to create 12 to 24 flashcards? Well, You would just have as many flashcards as you want on one page, and then the next page you have. I'm not sure I understand the question completely.
So maybe that has to do with the are there limitations to how many you can possibly fit on a page?
I think the only limitation would be how tiny it's going to get. You know, tiny text, and I mean, if I go back to my, let me go back to, nope. Here, I can, you know, I could take this and I could make it small, and you could have a bunch of these, but obviously, you know, you're limited in what you're able to display there.
Okay, yeah, and that was Kim who also clarified that's what Kim was asking about.
Oh, okay. And
that the smaller they became. Yeah. So
you could certainly get rid of the title and have just a blank slide to squeeze in some more.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, so some other questions about just how many cards you have on a page. So yeah, maybe some.
Well, this sampling that I'm showing you, I just put all these on one page just as a sample. I wouldn't do this in my course because I try to chunk my data to where the students are only limited. I mean, they only have one screen full that they don't have to scroll down a bunch. So if I was going to use all of these flashcards in my course, I would put one on each page, and then put in some text, you know, instructions or what I want them to look for, or you know, whatever.
Okay. Now, can you go back to the screen reader version and just talk through again how you were using the headings to set it up so that it would work like the flashcards?
Okay, so what I've done is I went in and typed in the question, and then I just changed the font more for my sake than anything else. But if you define it here, I've defined it as a header 3, and then I've defined the answer as a header 4. And so it's my understanding that if the user of the screen reader is able to skip between just header 3s, so they can, you know, if they're good with the first 5 questions, they can skip down to the 6th question and stuff like that. And then when they want to advance to the next lower level, so for instance, if they wanted to skip the first one, they would go to the second header 3. It would read the text, and then they would choose, okay, I want to see what header 4 is, and header 4 would be the answer.
Right. So in other words, the screen reader, they have the ability to hide the answer from themselves.
Yes. Now, and I was thinking about if someone wanted to use the screen reader and was it still able to see the screen, I'd be tempted to just turn the text white so that it's there. They just can't see it.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Can you review the animation actions again? There's a couple questions about the animations.
All right, so back to, where am I going? Wait. This one?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, does OneDrive keep the animation? So once you move it into OneDrive, does it?
Yes, there's a copy of it up there. Oh, so if I go back to my OneDrive, so I'm at home right now, and if I go into on campus, and I log into OneDrive, this is here. So it's in the cloud. I guess that's the phrase we like to use now.
Right. So no animations are lost, whether you're in actual PowerPoint or in.
No, because this PowerPoint is on my desktop at home. Okay.
Okay, gotcha.
And once I upload it, it uploads a copy Now, if I go in here and I make changes to the copy, that does not change the version on my desktop at home. So they're independent files at that point.
Okay. Good. Let's see what else we have here. So maybe we still have some time. Maybe if a couple people are asking just to do a quick run through again of
The whole process?
Yeah, maybe the 1 minute version, I guess.
The 1 minute. Yeah. Actually, that first time through felt like a 1 minute version. So let's.
And just to let everyone know that this video will be available in the resources about a week from now. So you will definitely be able to go back and review this.
Okay. So first thing we did was open a blank presentation, change the slide layout to title only, gave it our title and some brief instructions down here. That's up to however you want to do it. Then we draw a box. Well, actually, let's try something. Yeah, we'll stay with the box. We'll draw a box. Or not. Thank you. Okay, then we're going to copy the box and paste a second one so that they're the exact same size. Change the fill color. Then I'm going to add some text. And then on the gray, I'm going to type in the answer. Because of the contrast problem there, I'm going to change that text to be black. Then I'm going to go up and open my selection pane. So I go over here to select, choose selection pane. That allows me to rename each symbol. Now, I don't have to leave rectangle there. I could actually just replace it entirely like this and just say, all right, question 1. No, actually, this is answer 1. And this is question 1. I just leave the rectangle portion there because in some of the other ones that I do, it gets a little mixed between images and symbols and stuff like that. And sometimes it's just easier for me. And I'll even go in and change my title. All right. Then we're going to, all of the work is on the question box. We're going to go to our animations, open our animation pane, and apply an exit so that when I click on this, I want it to exit. So I'm going to select the exit fade. And then I'm going to also add it. And it's important when you do it, when you add a second animation to the same box, you have to use this add animation button. So we'll add a fade to it. And then I'm going to have that fade start after previous. So when I click the button, click, it fades and then comes back, and I don't have any timing set on it. So, all right, then we're going to select this box, and I want this action to start when I click on the question box. So on click of question 1, then we're going to execute this series. And then I'm going to delay this. I'll just do it at 1.5 seconds this time. So now the intent is when I click on this box, it will disappear for 1.5 seconds and then reappear. take my answer, put it on top, and we'll send that to the back. And there we have it. The 1-minute version.
There you go. I think that really helped.
Just to finish it off, though, to make it running continuously, you go to slideshow, set up slideshow, and ensure that loop continuously is selected. And then when you save it, you're going to make sure to save it as a PowerPoint show, not a PowerPoint presentation. Question?
Okay, no, I think that that helped to clarify some of the questions that came in. There's some more specific questions, and actually not sure if you covered these points, but let's go for it. So how did you layer the stars on the heart? Do you have 15 layers?
Oh no, let me go back to let me see if I can get my heart. Hello. Okay, so this is actually one slide. It's just I put the image on there, and then actually let me open this one in PowerPoint. I believe it lets me do that, right? Open in desktop. Oh, here we go. Okay, come here. Oh, we can do this. All right, so this is now in my desktop. So what I did is I put the image in there, so you can see it's just that one image, and then I just created one star, and I copied it 15, 20 times, whatever it is, and then placed the star hopefully in the right spot, and then typed in the name, and I grouped the name and the arrow or the line together. And if I go over to my animations, you'll see that this has a wipe right applied to it. So when they click on the star, oh, it's a wipe left, sorry. It'll wipe left, and then it goes into the trigger thing as well. So it's just the image, and then 20 stars, 21 if you want this guy coming up. I just
Nice.
just having some fun with it. But then again, the loop continuously allows me to click anywhere and not accidentally exit. I'm excited. I want to try working with some of our biology teachers and chemistry teachers and come up with this. I'm also working on some other ones for all the anatomy, different parts and figures and stuff that they use.
So is this hard example available in the downloads, in the resources?
No, this was just a sample. If you're interested, feel free to email me and we'll hook up. And if you have something we can work on together, I'd be more than happy to do that.
Okay, awesome. On which slide did you place the trigger? So again, I'm not sure if you've already gone over that, but.
Well, if I look here, here's the animation pane. So the trigger is actually attached to the star. So I'm not sure what question we're asking here. If I take a star, okay, let me copy C, I'll pop one over here, copy V. And I'm going to take that star, and then I'm going to add an animation to it, or add a trigger. What is this star called? I got so many in here now. Well, this the text in the line is what the trigger is going to be attached to. In this particular case, the left common artery is going to trigger on the click of that star. So I identify this star as that's what I want it to trigger on. So if I go up to, so this, when I click on that star, it says trigger on the L-carotid artery star. And that's why I left the star there versus the rectangle. It just makes it a little simpler. So if I wanted to, I could change this to the whatever star this one is. I don't know what I just did there. No, if I run it. No, see, this one no longer works. So I assigned it to somebody else. I just don't know. I was just clicking around. I don't know which one I assigned it to. So.
Right. So Ed, this has been an excellent presentation. A lot of positive feedback here, and it sounds like people here are very interested in this. It looks
Cool.
like we're going to have to somehow have a follow-up. So.
Oh wow! Okay.
You know, a lot of people here in the chat, they're very excited about what they're seeing here, the possibilities.
Oh, the possibilities are only limited by your imagination. That's the way I think about it.
Yeah, exactly. So let me just to let everyone know again that these resources are available in the link provided that has been put up in the chat. And go back and, you know, it sounds like some of you would really be interested in connecting with Ed so that maybe you could even have a little bit more in-depth walkthrough of the process and maybe applying it to your specific courses. So we just want to thank Ed again for sharing. This is great, and thank you all for joining us today. And I hope you all continue to have a great Can Innovate day, and a great Friday and a great weekend. So thank you, Ed. Thank you, Stacy.
Oh, thank you, and thank you, Can Innovators.
All right, everyone.